PF Flyer, a brand almost 100 years old, died in 2021. Just a few months after it passed away, Cassia Davis, who worked at New Balance for 10 years and is the daughter of the New Balance majority owner of the whole business, she left her job of 10 years at New Balance to buy PF Flyers and lead the brand as CEO to revive the brand to its former glory and modernize it. So we bought one of their classic sneakers that have been popular forever to cut them in half and run through our tests to really figure out, have they actually innovated and evolved since Davis took over? Is the new PF Flyer better than the New Balance own version? Are they as good, better, or worse than Converse? And is this ownership change all just hot air, or are they actually making these shoes run faster and jump higher? And when they say heritage, they actually mean it, because in 1933, inventor Hyman L. Whitman with BF Goodrich patented the Posture Foundation arch support insole and began adding that technology into its shoes. Then by 1937, the Posture Foundation became known simply as PF, hence the name PF Flyers. Then by 1944, PF Flyers released their first kids collection and coined the phrase run faster, jump higher. In 1958, they became the first brand to endorse professional athlete Bob Cousy, one of the Boston Celtics, and during that first year of endorsement, PF Flyers sold 14 million pairs. And keep in mind, this is in the 50s. 14 million pairs is a lot even for today. What helped that spike is they developed a brand new comic book series, the PF Magic Shoe Adventure Book, and Saturday morning TV special to accompany it. Then throughout the 60s, PF Flyer was one of the largest sneaker companies with a 20% market share, their biggest competitors being Converse and Keds. I wish Keds was still around. They kind of are, but not. Then in the 70s, PF Flyers soared to new heights, becoming the devoted shoe brand of NASA's Gemini 2 team. But unfortunately, in 1972, BF Goodrich left the shoe industry, and the US courts broke up the brand and sold off the different parts due to antitrust laws and how successful they were. Then after about 1975, PF Flyer just kind of fell into obscurity, being bought and sold multiple times, but without a lot of success. But then in 1933, a pivotal moment in my life, the center high became featured in the movie The Sandlot, which took place in 1963, even though it was filmed in 1933, during the height and the heyday of the PF Flyer reign. And that movie single-handedly brought PF Flyers back out of obscurity and revived the brand name. But in 2003, New Balance thought they'd take their shot at it. They thought they could revive the brand, but even New Balance couldn't revive the brand. So all through the 2010s, New Balance threw everything they could at PF Flyers, doing everything they could, doing collaborations, new models, trying to revive interest in the Sandlot movie. But unfortunately, by January of 2021, New Balance confirmed that PF Flyers had been completely discontinued, completely killing off the brand. But just a couple months later, the daughter of the majority owner of New Balance, Cassia Davis, who was the founder of the clothing brand Kata, had the 10 years experience at New Balance. She acquired PF Flyer from New Balance and became the only female owner of the original sneaker brand, with the goal, in her words, of PF Flyers running towards a bright future, determined to remain a cultural icon for generations to come. So then what shoe are we reviewing? Well, the brand is PF Flyers. The model is a center high. They weigh 14.5 ounces. They retail for $80, which compared to the Converse that we're lightly comparing it to, just the regular All-Stars are $65, the Chuck 70s are $90. And the PF Flyers are made in Indonesia, and the way they position this on their website is, as the saying goes, legends never die. The center high has been a PF Flyer icon since its introduction in 1944. The famous sneaker was notoriously worn to play baseball and basketball. Today, the center high is worn to slay the game of life in its timeless style. The center high features a mid-cut upper, our distinctive ribbed toe guard, a durable rubber outsole, and the feeling of Posture Foundation comfort. Keep that in mind. And if you do want a pair of these or the Converse, be sure to check them out via links in my description. On occasion, they help support the channel. A huge part of why I started Rose Anvil was to get to a point where we had this dream shop, the dream shop concept, where we had woodworking, leatherworking, metalworking, 3D printers, anything you could ever imagine. And so when a brand reached out, like Bamboo, and was like, we want to send you the X1 Carbon 3D printer, which is, in their words, one of the most feature-rich flagship 3D printers on the market, provides fully automated workflow and AI-aided print job monitoring. It's also compatible with a wide range of high-performance filaments and features AMS for multi-material and multi-color projects. And people really like this 3D printer because it's super low maintenance and it's really reliable, and it has the multi-color printing. And we've already put this thing through the paces. Keaton, one of the main editors, is just a 3D printing nerd, and so the moment we got it set up and it was ready to run, we've basically been 3D printing ever since. We 3D printed anything from stuff that's actually useful and valuable for the production of our business, all the way down to like ornaments for Josh in the back of the shop, who's basically Kris Kringle all year round. Some of the more useful stuff that we printed is a little stand to hold shoes up. And there's this grid system, it's called Gridfinity, where you can pop different little holders in a grid system, so you can have your entire electronic holding system exactly how you want, move it around, adjust it, expand it. Since I haven't done a majority of the 3D printing stuff, I asked Keaton just to give me kind of notes on what he liked. These are basically the Apple of the 3D printing world. You cater to anybody. You don't need a huge knowledge base to start. It's a really easy first time 3D printer that still prints super high quality stuff. So if you're into 3D printing, or if you've been wanting to get into 3D printing, check out Bamboo. The links in my description, and shout out to them for sponsoring this video, sending us that 3D printer. So check it out below. Now let's start reviewing these shoes and comparing them, starting with the upper material first. PF Flyers say it's a 10-ounce BCI canvas upper. BCI stands for something I don't remember, but it basically means it's eco-friendly. It's cotton that's harvested in a good way. All 4 shoes are made out of a canvas. We burned all of them just to double check that they actually were canvas. It burnt like cotton, where it didn't shrink up and shrivel and like a synthetic would. It didn't smell synthetic even when I burned it. It smelled more like wood. So pretty sure all of these are cotton canvas. But how thick of a canvas did they actually use? Well, the All-Stars, your typical Converse, are 0.6 millimeters. The Chucks are the thickest at 1 millimeter. The New Balance pair of PF Flyers is 0.7, and the new PF Flyers are also 0.7. The puncture test had some pretty interesting results. The All-Stars 38.5, Chuck 70s at 70, New Balance PF Flyers at 55, and the new PF Flyers 32. So overall, the results really not much changed from the 2 PF Flyer versions. I do like the thicker and heavier canvas on the Chuck 70s, but it's not enough to say like, oh, it's terrible, it's falling off a cliff, but also not much change, which I was kind of hoping to see something different. But what about the linings in all these shoes? Well, the All-Stars have a 0.7 millimeter soft spacer mesh type material. It's just more like a regular sneaker lining rather than the Chuck 70s and the majority of All-Stars, which is just a thinner canvas. The Chuck 70s canvas is 0.5 millimeters thick, and if you remember, the Chuck 70s have that internal dedicated counter cover. The old PF Flyers, it's canvas as well, but it's 0.6 millimeters thick, and this also has that internal counter cover. And then comparing it to the new PF Flyers, it's 0.4 millimeters thick, and it does not have that internal counter cover, but it is pretty cool little pinstriping, old school like baseball vibes. I do like that. But once again, it's not better. It's slightly worse. And keep in mind, it could vary from model to model, because we're not comparing the Sandlot version to the new Sandlot version. We're comparing it to the more baseball version. And this is where stuff starts to get interesting. Is the insoles. The whole thing of PF Flyers, the posture foundation. The All-Stars have this removable foam insole, mostly removable. It has a little bit of extra wedge of foam underneath the heel, versus Chuck 70s have basically the same thing, but instead of a soft wedge of foam, it's a little bit harder rubber. The old PF Flyers, if you remember, because like we cannot find that stupid insole to save our lives. It was similar to this, but it was actually contoured. It gave you that arch support. It was made to kind of roll your ankle a little bit out to give you a little bit more support, correct your posture. Did it work? It's hard to say, but at least it was the posture foundation, because the new PF Flyers has completely removed all evidence of the actual posture foundation. There's nothing there. There's no contouring. That this line's all just BS. The posture foundation, now that it's screen printed on there, does not reflect anything on the inside of the shoe at all. So the whole thing, the whole PF Flyer thing, which is the posture foundation, they've removed from it, which drives me nuts. Not that it had that big of an impact on how the shoe felt, but it was something that felt different compared to the Converse. It could have been the strategic advantage over Converse's, where they've got the name, they've got the look. So to remove the one advantage that the whole brand's named after is just crazy to me. I get it, but it's crazy. And obviously I lean a little bit more towards functionality and like actual substance and the materials you're getting for the dollars you spend, versus a lot of people don't care. They just want the look. Then as for midsoles, really the only one that has any semblance of a midsole, the Chuck 70 has this layer of really soft, squishy pour-on type foam that to me makes it an easy choice over the regular All-Stars. But the rest of them basically have the same like sneaker-ish lasting material. But when it comes to the outsole, this is where it gets kind of weird again, because obviously if you watched this last video, go watch it if you haven't. Like this has that felt layer on the bottom, but it's still a rubber outsole, versus the rest of them are all rubber outsoles, but the durometers or the hardness of the rubber is different. The regular All-Stars have a 70 Shore A outsole, and it's also a little bit thinner. It's only 5 millimeters thick compared to the Chuck 70s at 6 millimeters thick and a 60 Shore A. You get a little more squish, a little more grip, but you have that extra 1 millimeter thickness, which kind of levels it out to me. The New Balance PF Flyer is also 5 millimeters thick, and so I'm assuming the new PF Flyer is 5 as well, but we'll see when we get it cut in half, because I'm hoping that they've changed at least something on the inside. Then as for the construction and how all these are put together, they're all vulcanized construction, where they essentially lightly glue on a piece of rubber around the outside here, this foxing strip. But in order to get it to actually bind and bond, you have to cook it or put it in a giant oven to fully cure that rubber, which as it's curing, it bonds really strongly to that outsole and the upper, which it's a super old school way of doing it. It's probably how PF Flyers started doing it. And there's still some of the old school brands that still do the style of vulcanized construction, especially for skate shoes. These Converse are notorious for failing, and probably the PF Flyers too, at certain parts where the vulcanizing joint is made. So I was kind of hoping that PF Flyers maybe went with the cup sole or just tried to do something different, but I still like that they're honoring the past with vulcanized construction. So now let's cut this thing in half and really see if they've actually innovated and changed anything on the inside in the last 4 years, or if it's basically the exact same shoe that New Balance was making. All right, we got it cut in half, and if you're not subscribed, consider doing it, because it's how we afford to buy brand new products every single week, several times a week, just to destroy them, to help you guys know what you're actually spending your hard-earned money on, and what's marketing BS and just all narrative, and what's actually substance. So, well, let's see what's inside. So is there any difference at all between the New Balance PF Flyers versus the new ones? No, they're exactly the same. And I thought for sure there'd be some differences somewhere, especially under the new ownership with such a strong mission statement. So have they at least improved anything with this innovative and evolving designs since Davis took over? No, it's literally the exact same shoe, if not just a little bit worse, because it's almost identical with this 2-layer rubber construction rather than the single-layer rubber outsole construction. So it's thinner, it's gonna wear faster, it could delaminate, it has a weaker canvas in the upper, a thinner lining. Both are pretty minor, but the one thing that just drives me absolutely insane is they got rid of the one thing the whole brand is based around, the posture foundation insole. Like I mentioned, it could easily be that point of differentiation if they doubled down on it and it's like, this is the posture foundation. These are way more comfortable than Converse, more durable than Converse. They have a way to position themselves above Converse, where Converse is the juggernaut in this old school sneaker segment of the footwear market. But instead, they just got rid of it. So should you consider buying a pair? Are they good, better, or worse than Converse? Well, they're definitely worse than Converse, and they're more expensive. Not more expensive than the Chuck 70s, but the Chuck 70s are significantly better. But I would still rock a pair of the OG Sandlot Chucks, the ones that do actually make you run faster and jump higher. But other than that, there's really nothing special about this shoe at all, except its connection to the Sandlot movie. And I was just really hoping that with the new ownership, we'd see something with their new commitment to change and disrupting the status quo. It turns out they're just doing the same old thing under a different name and got rid of the posture foundation. So if you like this video, support it, subscribe to us, and thank you for watching these videos and supporting this. It's how we are able to afford to buy all this stuff to cut it in half and show you. So thank you guys. See you.